What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video, we are going to be talking about a Sonic Adventure 2 remake, which is still a rumor that is still looming around. And as we've just had another leak come from Zippo, who has been credible in the past for leaking things such as Mario 3D All-Stars and Paper Mario and Mario's Bowser's Fury. There's a lot to, look forward to, and the leaks described an adventure type style game, so I don't think that leak puts the Sonic Adventure remakes out of the question whatsoever. So I'm here to talk about, things that I want to see change in Sonic Adventure 2. Now, this game is my favorite game of all time, but it has issues, so I don't mind talking about its flaws, because I've played the game so much. I kind of know it like the back of my hand. I know what I really like, and I know what I don't really like. But one thing I do really like is the word from our sponsor today. And today's sponsor is Skillshare. Skillshare is still, once again, a great place to learn some new skills or hone your skills that you already have into something even better. And they have many different classes you can choose from, such as film and video, fine art, illustration, music, photography, web development, and much more. But this time my class I suggest is the Hero's Journey with Kenya Barris and Nicholas Smith. Now, I really enjoyed this class because I want to learn how to draw and illustrate, and Skillshare offers many classes like this one. And remember, Skillshare is specifically for learning, meaning there are no ads and they're always launching premium classes so you can stay focused. And it's less than $10 a month with an annual subscription. The first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link will get a free trial of Skillshare premium membership, then it's only $10 afterwards. So go on and explore your creativity. But now let's move on to changing 10 things or more about Sonic Adventure 2. Right off the bat, the first thing I want to change is the controls a little bit. Sonic Adventure 2, I think, controls fairly well. I think there's a few things here and there that really doesn't help this game control well, and it's mostly to do with the action button. The action button has a lot of things mapped to it. You can spin dash, you can somersault, you can also do the ring dash or light speed dash with it, and it's just mapped to too many things. And there's also the bounce button. It's too much, and I think some of these abilities need to be divided up among your other buttons so that way you won't get accidents where you hit something and something else comes out, because it's pretty often that can happen, especially with doing a light speed dash. It can be kind of scary that you don't get the input that you really want. And that's just for Sonic and Shadow. But when it comes down to the mechs, Tails and Eggman, they need a complete rework of how their physics work and how they move, because trying to move in those things is quite literally tank controls, and when you turn left and right you lose almost all of your speed and momentum, and it's pretty terrible. They should also change the laser sound for Eggman and Tails, because I didn't realize how ear piercing it kinda was once you get older. Now, I don't care if this was meant to be this way or not. Fix the controls in Mad Space. Flying around in Mad Space is quite terrible once you get on the gravity of the little planets, and it just acts really strange and it feels like you're going left when you're holding right, and I don't know, I don't like that, and I feel like that should change. That level is still maddening to me till this day. But enough of controls talk, let's talk about level design. So in my previous video where I talked about things that should change for the Sonic Adventure remake, I talked about how there's collision issues, and Sonic Adventure 2 also shares these issues. It's most prevalent in Green Forest when you're running on like the tube-like slopes, and Sonic will sometimes just hit like nothing and just stop his momentum, and it's very strange. And when they remake these games, I hope they fix stuff like that. I mean, I would assume so, because depending on how the remake is going to be, we don't know if it's just going to be a remaster by taking the source code and changing it, or a remake from the ground up. But if it's not a remake from the ground up, these are things that need to be ironed out, and that should not be left in a remake of this game. It would make keeping your speed and momentum a lot more natural instead of just having it be lost randomly due to bugs in the game or bugs in the collision. Now, I also think adding to the levels wouldn't be a bad thing either, because it's a remake. It's not a one-to-one thing, at least I hope so. I would like to see some changes made. For example, let's look at Final Rush for Sonic. That level is extremely fun and it's extremely open, but I think it's also broken, and seeing new players play Final Rush is something very interesting, because I noticed they have a hard time figuring out, you know, what to do or where to go or how to stay on track. So I feel like having more level design and platforming leading you into where you need to go in levels such as Final Rush would be very helpful. And I don't mean like take away from the level design challenge, but more so help guide players a little bit more. Because I actually had a friend that I did a deal with where I made him play a couple Sonic games, and Sonic Adventure 2 was one of them, and in return I had to play the Jak and Daxter series, and I had watched him play through the game, and he did have a bit of a trouble with Sonic Adventure 2, and mostly with stages like Final Rush. So I think just having more guidance in those levels for newer people, since a lot of new people who have not played Sonic Adventure 2 will be able to play it if these remakes turn out to be true and actually come out. Another thing I would change is the upgrades and who gets them and how some of them work. But first off, I think Shadow should get all of the same upgrades that Sonic gets. I think it would make for more unique level design as well, because Shadow's levels are really good, but they're more basic due to not having all of the upgrades such as the bounce or the flame ring. And I think abilities like the Ancient Light are really weird. They don't really get used that much, but I think changing how the ability works is something that should happen, I think, with the Ancient Light to make it more useful. For example, let's say the Ancient Light, once you charge it up, you can hold the charge by holding the button and still keep your speed, and it will give you like a boost kind of. Now, I'm not saying add a boost into Sonic Adventure or a limited boost. Think of it more so as storing your spin dash and letting that energy go, and just to give Sonic a boost of speed similar to his spin dash, except you just get to hold on to it and you press the button to activate it after storing it. I think that would be a unique use of the Ancient Light. And remember, the Ancient Light isn't even, required to beat Sonic Adventure 2. It's a side thing you can go out of your way for. And I think it'd be a cool and unique upgrade, and I would think it'd be a cool change to that upgrade to make it more useful instead of just homing in on a bunch of enemies at once, kind of like how it works in Sonic Adventure 1. Now let's talk about the story a little bit. If this is a remake from the ground up, those cutscenes need to be 100% completely redone. The characters cutting each other off is just not the wave, and I think it's funny, it makes for great meme material, but I feel like Sonic Adventure 2 has a more serious tone compared to a lot of other Sonic games, and I really enjoyed that. And I think looking back at it now, when you see the silly stuff with the dubbing of the game and characters cutting each other off and stuff looking silly, it kind of takes away from that, because I think on paper it's a pretty decent story. It's just the way it's executed isn't amazing. But I think with the remake, they have a chance to really make it look and feel cool like it was intended and how it felt back then when it first came out. I also think it would be in their best interest to change some lines of dialogue, because I think the funniest example is when you have Eggman at the end of the game talking to Tails, saying some really deep stuff, and then Tails just says, "We all did it together," in response to Eggman talking about all this serious and deep stuff, and it's just like, come on, Tails, you ruined the moment.
I looked up to my grandfather because of all the great things he accomplished in his life. He was my hero, and I wanted to be a great scientist like him. But did he really mean to destroy us?
I don't know, but what I do know is we all did it together!
I think in the story it'd also be great to see some cutscenes that gives more context and background to stuff, especially in Team Dark, because I think Team Dark has a lot of, great cutscenes, and that's where most of the story lies, is, Team Dark. And I think that it would be great if we saw more stuff, especially with Eggman's grandfather. The big elephant in the room is the voice actors. They're gonna need to change. Because if we can't get Ryan Drummond back, which he said his agent has contacted Sega if he can play the role again, but it's a lot more complicated than just asking to be Sonic again and he becomes Sonic. So it could happen, could not happen, who knows. But in general, the voice cast is going to be different, and based off from what we're hearing, Sonic seems like it's going back to a slightly more serious tone, possibly with Sonic Prime being around the tone of the cartoon show Generator Rex, which is also around the same tone as stuff like Ben 10, Alien Force and whatnot, that type of stuff, which is lighthearted but has some serious moments. And I think that's what Sonic is probably going to be going back to more, instead of being, a Saturday morning cartoons type style where they're talking to you and, breaking the fourth wall. But if the new voice cast does Adventure 2, I still hope they keep that same feeling because again, Sonic Adventure 2 is a more serious game compared to the other games, and it'd be quite a shame if they continue with the route they're going now with Sonic, with the whole jokey and Saturday morning type stuff, and then Sonic Adventure 2 will not feel the same anymore. Those are all of the main changes I'd like to see in Sonic Adventure 2. I don't know if I listed 10 or not, but I know I listed quite a bit, and those are the main things I'd like to see changed with the game. I'm sure there's more I could think of, but I think that these are the main things I wanted to focus on. But if you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure you hit that like button and hit the subscribe, and thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video once again. Stick around and make sure you guys click that link in the description below. And anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one.